Hello, foodie friends! So we thought we would do our question and answer video at the park. We'll see if this turned out to be a good idea or not. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of people at the park today, so you're mainly just gonna be hearing my dogs. So first question, and I will try to do some fancy editing and put the question below on the screen. But the first one was, what made you decide to do your YouTube channel? And there's actually a couple different reasons for that. So when my grandmother was downsizing her living situation, she had so many cookbooks and kitchen utensils that we kind of didn't know what to do with them. But they were really cool and vintage, and we didn't want to get rid of them, so I took them, not really knowing what to do with them, and then I thought, would it be really cool to do a YouTube channel and just kind of share some of these odd and unusual vintage cookbooks that she has collected throughout the years, and it would just be fun to cook my way through them. Now that's kind of expanded because eBay is probably not a good thing for me, and I keep finding odd and vintage cookbooks in yard sales and thrift stores and that kind of thing. So it's grown from my grandmother's collection into everyone else's collection, which is fine. I think that adds some unusual flavors to the channel, because you never know what I'm going to find on eBay or the thrift stores. So that's been really fun for me. And now the second reason I decided to try the channel is because I grew up very, very computer illiterate. I barely knew how to turn one on for most of my adult life. And so I kind of did it as a challenge to myself, because I would have to learn to edit. I would have to learn things on the computer, like moving files around and saving files and, creating all these different spaces on my computer to work. And it really challenged me to actually learn something about it instead of being so afraid of it. And for those of you who have watched my channel from the beginning, or maybe you went back and you looked at some of my older videos, you will definitely see a difference in just how computer illiterate I was at the beginning and how I've actually progressed. Now, I'm still not that great at editing. I try to do different things, and I try to learn different things. And I've found, actually, through the years I've been doing this, I've found different kinds of editing, programs that have been more intuitive and easier to use, and that's helped a lot. But I have actually learned quite a bit from where I first began, and that's actually really made me happy, because number one, I didn't believe in myself when I first started this. I didn't really think that I would be able to learn all that, but I did, which goes to show that if I can do it, pretty much anybody can do it, because like I said, I didn't even know how to turn, or I barely knew how to turn a computer on. So next question is, what did I study, and do I have other talents? I did not go to culinary school. So I do not have any kind of degree like that, just a home cook that kind of taught myself. I do have an Associates of Science, but I ended up not actually going further with the degree like I wanted to. I had dreams of being an archaeologist like Indiana Jones, but that turned out to be quite the dream. And then, of course, life just kind of gets rolling, and all of a sudden you end up somewhere else that you had absolutely no idea how you even got there, or you didn't even plan for it. But I do have some other talents. I do like to crochet and knit, and I do some painting and some sketching. And when we get back to the house, I will actually show you some examples of some of the things that I've done. Now, as for the painting, bear in mind, I am a beginner and I just started doing it just again as another challenge to myself, to not be afraid to try new things and to challenge my perfectionism. That was a big thing, and it actually has helped, and I have really enjoyed it. So I will actually show you some of the things that I've made that only people in my immediate family have ever seen. So when we get back to the house, I will show you all kinds of different things that I like to do in my free time. Okay, and for the third question, I think I found a Bigfoot nest, or what looks like a Bigfoot nest. Anyway, the question is, how are you dealing with the YouTube world? And then, like, from views, subscriber numbers, and that kind of thing. And that's a really good question, especially if you're someone that is wanting to get into YouTube. I think first and foremost, you have to do a channel that you know you're going to really enjoy doing. And don't just like pick up trends and stuff like that, because you're going to get tired of that really quick. You also have to just have fun with it. I think we've tried to do like a lot of different characters, like, from Columbo and the Mockingjay and different things like that from books and stuff. We've tried to make it fun. So we kind of try to get a little bit of theater in there with the food. It's kept it enjoyable for us, like coming up with different things that we want to do. As far as like your subscriber numbers and stuff like that and your views, the YouTube algorithm can tend to punish you if you're like just starting, and if you're still a small channel. It's really hard to get yourself out there. So I think one thing that's really important to keep in mind is do this for fun, and if it stops being fun, then move on to something else. And that may be giving up the YouTube channel itself, because you can get into a headspace where you're looking at other channels and they've got big views and they're getting big subscriber counts, and that can really leave you kind of sad. But you also have to keep in mind, like I said about the algorithm, it's really hard to break through, especially as big as YouTube has gotten. So as long as you look at it as this is something for fun, we also kind of look at it as making home movies for ourselves for when we're older. So we're documenting our animals and, just different things that we like doing. And so when we get older, we can look back on these videos and say, oh yeah, there's, I remember that, or we had a lot of fun with this. So it is kind of a fun way to document, segments of your life. Now, as far as dealing with the YouTube world, when you put yourself out there on the internet, you can attract some trolls. Now, fortunately, I've not really had to deal with this like a lot of the YouTubers have. I have gotten some, and I tend to... Now, YouTube rewards you for every comment that you get. So the more comments and likes you get, the more you're pushed into the algorithm. However, if I do see like a really mean comment, even if it hurts me a little bit, I will go ahead and delete that comment. Mostly because I want, our cookbook community to be a space of happiness and good positivity and mental health. And sometimes seeing stuff like that can really drag you down. Even if you're just a viewer and you're scrolling down and you're reading, some mean or nasty comments, it can kind of drag you down as well. So I go ahead and remove those. But for the most part, it's been pretty rare. So far, I've been pretty lucky. So I haven't had to deal with as much. And I think that also goes along with the kind of channel that I am. I don't do drama. I don't do controversial subjects or like news related items. We're just looking at cookbooks and we're just having fun with food. And I think that's something that a lot of people can get behind and have a lot of fun with us also.
Oh my God, why?
So another good question is, do we notice a taste difference between the kinds of things that we test with all these cookbooks when they have very similar ingredients? Which is true. A lot of our stuff does seem to have, pretty similar ingredients, like, your butters and sugars and stuff like that. I haven't really noticed a lot of similarity between the dishes. I think it's just that one little tweak that might be in it that kind of pushes it over the edge, into like a different kind of taste experience. I think too, like a lot of what we do will tend to have different texture. So even if they do have similar ingredients, the texture of it will be different enough to make it taste different than what we did before. But if you kind of add like that one little different thing to it, like with paprika or, just whatever, curry, cumin, or something just a little bit different, it will edge it away from the rest of them. And if you're wondering what we're actually having for our picnic, I decided to try the garbanzo faux chicken salad from Isabel Page's cookbook. I can attest to the fact that it does taste really good. It's not exactly like chicken salad. Like, I wouldn't say that, oh, wow, I can't,
Can't tell it's not chicken?
Yeah, I can't tell it's not chicken, but it's a different flavor, and it's just as good as conventional chicken salad, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got lettuce that I've grown in the garden. We've got a fresh tomato I got from Carver's Apple Orchard. And we're doing it on our fresh homemade bread from our local Mennonite store. Okay, we have another question. And if you hear her crying, it's not because... you can see her. Yeah, she's not hurt. She's just so excited to be here. This is just her normal state of being when we're at this park.
If we're not moving.
Yeah, this is her favorite place in the world to be, and she's basically saying, hurry up, so she can go on another walk.
Yeah.
Now, this next question is going to be kind of interesting because we kind of have a little bit of some conflicting stories, I think. And this is, how did you meet your husband? So I've actually known him since he was 16 and I was 19.
Yeah.
So I 3 years older. We were not dating, obviously, at that time. He had a girlfriend that he went to high school with. But me and him went to youth group together at the same church, and we were friends, and we would hang out, if he came to do a youth group activity with us. We were all pretty tight knit.
Yeah.
At one time, the youth group wasn't very big, but we were really close, like all of us. And so we were always doing something together, always at someone's house, always having a party, always, going to a movie, just whatever, just hanging out with each other. And so we, saw each other a lot through that. And we always got along really well.
Yeah.
As in the youth group and stuff and his friends. And then did you break up? You broke up with your first one, right? Your first girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this girlfriend from high school, they parted ways. And he went off to college. And we didn't really see each other for a year?
Yeah.
Like the whole semesters, you were, yeah.
Yeah.
And now this was in Ohio, and I was in Tennessee, or we had been in Tennessee.
I went to college in Cincinnati.
Right.
Yeah.
So we didn't really see each other for a year, and then he came back for summer break. And actually, kind of thought he was cute.
I guess, yeah.
I thought he got cuter through that year that he'd been
Put on
gone.
that freshman 20.
Yeah. And so, and at that time, I was a church piano player. So, and he came back to the church, from his school. And so we were kind of still in the youth group.
Yeah.
But we were older, it was just kind of like one of those things where we
those-
just visit, or something like that.
Yeah, I think, like you said, because we were kind of a close-knit youth group, we hung out, like, outside of youth group anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, it wasn't really that weird to, like, hang out with the youth group people without, like, an actual youth group event.
Right. So we're still hanging out, and we're kind of flirting because, I think he's kind of cute. And then, now here's where the story kind of diverges. I distinctly recall asking him out first. Because there was a group of us going to hike a waterfall. And I knew he liked to hike. And I was like, hey, you should go with us, But I was counting it as a date.
Well, and it...
But now
after the fact, I counted it as a date. But I don't know that I counted it as that going into the, like, event.
Okay, so you still thought it was just friends hanging out?
Yeah,
Is
but
that
it was a group. It was a group of people.
Well,
it wasn't like just the two of us.
But to me, since I ask, hey, do you want to go on this waterfall hike? To me, I was counting it as a date.
We were climbing the rock,
Yeah.
and you got hung on a root,
Yeah.
and I had to climb up and unhook you from the root.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I did not do that on purpose. That was not to be like playing the damsel in distress, will you rescue me? No, I'm just a klutz. Like if something's
She's just a damsel in distress.
Yeah.
She's not playing a damsel in distress. She just is the damsel in distress.
if something's gonna happen, I'll be the one that it happens to.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had to climb, and I was really stuck. I mean, I was really hung on this rock. So he did have to climb up, and he had to help me down. And I think that's where you kind of thought, hey, I think she's kind of cute too.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's weird. I can't remember. Did you ask me out after that? Or did we just continue to hang out until at some point we just figured out we were dating?
I think it was. It's really weird to think about, but I think that's basically how it happened.
Yeah, there you go. And we've been married, 14 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 14 years. Okay, so we're going to wrap this question up and pack up our stuff because this dog, you can see
Can't
her.
sit still too long.
She cannot sit still anymore. So we have got to get this dog on another trail.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to try to keep the dogs a little bit more quiet than the last question, but no promises.
They're in leaves.
They're pretty antsy. They've had one walk and a swim, but they're still wanting to go even more. So we've got one more really great question, and it is, do you prefer vintage cookbooks over modern cookbooks? And this was actually more of a complicated question than we first thought, really. I'm going to have to say, just from using them so much and cooking so much out of them from the past, 3 years now,
Right.
With this channel, I would actually say I prefer the vintage cookbooks just because they're always filled with some kind of surprise and dishes you would have never thought to make in a million years.
And I think they have a lot more history in them as far as they tell stories also. Where I don't think you get as much of that with more modern cookbooks.
Right.
A lot of times. But that being said, there's also a little bit more like hit and miss, I think, with vintage cookbooks.
Yeah, we have noticed that, because I asked him earlier on the trail, did he prefer my cooking from the modern cookbooks or my cooking from the vintage? And you actually thought the more modern, right?
Yeah, I think the modern cookbooks have recipes in them that are more like something that has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
So to speak. Like you still get some of the old recipes, but you also it's the ones that have lasted this long that you get more of in the more modern cookbooks.
Yeah, so we kind of came to the conclusion that modern cookbooks are kind of going to be more of a guarantee that the recipe is going to be good, and that you're going to like it, because, a lot of times you're already used to a lot of the tastes and stuff that come in modern cooking. But it's the vintage cookbooks that give you the surprises. Yeah. So
sometimes, some of the surprises are really good.
Yeah.
And some of them are kind of scary.
Yeah, like our cabbage
oh my God.
episode where you just stuck hot dogs in a raw cabbage and then cooked it over a little fire in the middle of the cabbage. Yeah. That was weird. And we've had a 1970s recipe supposedly from Hawaii that it didn't taste good and it didn't taste bad. It was just bland.
Yeah.
So we didn't really care for that at all. But yeah, I would say you'll get surprised with the vintage cookbooks, and you may actually enjoy cooking out of them more, but you'll get more consistent results from a modern cookbook.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. And by the way, yeah, we're down in a sinkhole on this trail, and that's why the sun is kind of starting to glare in.
Weirdly dappled.
Yeah, we're very decorated in sunlight right now. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this up and continue to walk these dogs because they are raring to go. So thanks for watching this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. And I hope I got to everybody's question. If I didn't, go ahead and post it again, and I will answer it next time. Or if you have some other questions that you've thought of, go ahead and add it and we'll do another Q&A in the future. So thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.
And if you like historical cooking and unusual cookbooks, here's 2 more videos you might enjoy. And make sure to like and subscribe for more foodie adventures.